Have you ever wondered how you actually say things like at work or in the park in Russian? It's not quite as simple as just putting words next to each other. Well, today we are going to crack the code on your very first piece of Russian grammar, the prepositional case. Let's jump right in.
Right, we're kicking things off with the prepositional case. Now, I know. The word case can sound a little intimidating, but trust me on this one is your friend. It's a really simple, super practical tool that's going to make your Russian sound more natural, like immediately. You've totally got this. So, here's a little puzzle for you. You probably know the word for park, and the word for work, работа. But how do you connect them to say in the park or about work? You can't just, stick the words together. Something fundamental has to change. The real question is, what? And the answer, the solution to our puzzle, is a system called cases. The best way to think of them is like special keys. Each key changes a noun just a little bit to show what its job is in the sentence. And for our puzzle right now, the key we need is the prepositional case. So what is this thing exactly? Well, the prepositional case is really just a special ending you add to a noun. And you only use it when you're talking about one of two things. A location, like where something is, or a topic, what something is about. That's it. Pretty simple, right? Okay, so we've got the what. Now for the really important part. How do we know when to use it? The good news is Russian gives us some really, really clear signals to look for.
The whole trick is to keep an eye out for signal words. These are specific little prepositions that basically act like giant flashing signs telling you, hey, the prepositional case is coming up. They're your cue to make that little change to the noun.
Let's break it down. It really just comes down to two main uses. For location, we use the prepositions v, which means in, and na, which means on or at. These answer the question где, or where. Then for talking about a topic, we use the preposition o, meaning about. This answers questions like o kom, about whom, or o chom, about what. See, that preposition is always your clue.
So, we know what it is and when to use it. Now for the fun part. Let's actually crack the code of how to form it. And I promise it's way more like a simple puzzle than some complex math formula.
The entire secret is right here. That's the whole trick. All you have to do is change the very end of the noun, and you do that based on its gender.
Okay, here's how it works. For masculine nouns like stole and neuter nouns like okno, the ending becomes a nice simple ye. For most feminine nouns like kniga, guess what? The ending also changes to ye. The only little exception you gotta watch out for is feminine nouns that end in a soft sign, like mach. That one takes an e ending instead. So really, the main ending you need to burn into your brain is just yeah.
Rules are great and all, but seeing them in action is what really makes them stick. So let's take everything we've just learned and actually apply it to some real, everyday phrases you might use. Here we go. The word for park is park, which is a masculine word. We see the preposition v, which is our signal word for location. So we follow our rule and we just add that e ending. Park becomes parque, v parque. Simple as that. Let's try another one. Работа means work. It's a feminine noun and it ends in a. Our signal word here is na, so we just switch that final a to an a. На работе. See that? The pattern just holds.
All right, now for a topic example. Our signal word is o, which means about. The word Russia is a feminine noun that ends in iya. Now for these, the rule is just a tiny bit different. You change that ending to e. So we get o России. Here is, fitting right into a full sentence. Я думаю means I am thinking. Thinking about what? Our signal word is a, so работа becomes работе. Я думаю о работе. It just flows.
One more, just to really lock this in. Она говорит means she is talking. Talking about what? Well, the word is film, which is a masculine noun. We see our signal o, so we add that ye ending. Она говорит о фильме. See? You're getting the hang of this. And just like that, you've done it. Seriously, you've learned the logic, you've learned the rules, and you've seen how to apply your very first Russian case. Let's do a super quick final recap just to make sure it's all cemented in your brain. Honestly, it all just boils down to these three simple steps. First, you spot your signal words v, na, or o. Second, you just identify the gender of the noun you need to change. And third, you apply that new ending, which, let's be real, is almost always going to be yeah. That's the entire process. You should take a second to let that sink in. Understanding the case system is absolutely crucial for speaking Russian fluently, and you've just taken a massive first step. So, well done.
So, what do you think? It's not so bad, right? Now that you understand the basic idea of how cases work, the other ones are going to be even easier to pick up. So, you feeling ready to tackle the accusative case next?